Okay, so Civil War, right? The latest film from Alex Garland. I've been, meaning to check this out for a while. Finally did it. Alex wrote and directed. It is produced by Alain Reich, Andrew McDonald, Gregory Goodman, executive produced by Eliza Alvarez, Timo Argelander, Danny Cohen, co-produced by Eric Heffron and Kenneth Yu, and associate produced by Joanne Smith. Jeff Barrow and Ben Salisbury took care of the music. Rob Hardy was behind the camera with cinematography. Jake Roberts working that editing booth. Right? Casting was taken care of by Francine Maisler. Katie Maxey was production design. Mark Dillon and Jason Vigdor, art direction. Set decoration was Lisbeth Ayala. Costume design was Megan Kasperlik. We've got hair and makeup, Amy Wood, Darla Wigley, Carla Wallace, Alex Michael Petty, Al Payne, Natasha Negron, Valoria McClend, Priya Mahaj, Ashley Levy, Bridget Schridder, Crystal Bradell, Alex Berjak, Sophie Ashworth, Dina Adair. Our cast. We have got Lee, played by Kirsten Dunst. Joel, played by Wagner Moura. There's Tony, played by Nelson Lee. Buya, played by Evan Lai. Jesse, played by Cailee Spaeny. Right? Sammy, played by the great Stephen McKinley Henderson. The president is played by Nick Offerman, who I don't even recognize. You know what I mean? Like, that was a crazy transformation. We have got Drum Pete, played by Greg Hill. Eddie, played by Edmund Donovan. There's the Anya, played by Sonia Mizuno. The sniper, played by Jin Ha. The spotter, played by Carl Glusman. Joy Butler, played by June Felez. I think that's our main lot of people. There's a lot of people that kind of show up. Like Jesse Plemons is a soldier who's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's all manner of people who's like in smaller roles and all of that. But yeah, I think that's our main group. The gist of the story, right? It's a dystopian future. We follow a team of journalists traveling from New York City to Washington, D.C. during a civil war fought across the United States between an authoritarian federal government and several regional factions. So yeah, that's the story. Now, I remember hearing that Garland was looking to make this a very apolitical film. Right, not trying to base it on a set person's agenda or anything like that. But I was intrigued because, it's Alex fucking Garland, right? And Alex Garland makes good films, Like, I'm always impressed. Sometimes, stuff doesn't gravitate to you as much as other films. But man, there is definitely something about the way my man does his thing. You know what I mean? Like, trying to think of the last film. Man, my mind is all over the place, right? All over the place. I can't quite remember. But, he's doing the 28 Days Later and all of that shenanigans. But, yeah, no, he's very fucking good. So, yeah, I was intrigued. Now, I didn't know, right, that this follows journalists or anything like that. So getting in, you see the whole gist of it, right? And it is intriguing. It's definitely intriguing because we've got this grizzled writer who is kind of based, you feel, on Lee Miller, right? And it's funny that, both films came out in 2024, as well as Lee, which followed Lee Miller. And you can see the, what's it called? The things they have in common, right? That word, you can see it. And so you have that, and then you have this, fresh-faced kid trying to do her thing, Jessie. So it's watching this dynamic, and I think they did a really good job of showing that wide-eyed naivete. Like there's that bit when she's like, "I didn't even take a picture. I can't believe I froze. I didn't take a picture." And then like Lee's being, like trying to give the hard truths of the matter. But even when Jessie's crying, it's not like, "Oh, I'm sorry." You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, shit. That's life, baby. And I appreciated that. I appreciated that aspect of it. That we weren't getting any babying or anything like that. I didn't think it was clear that, Joel was trying to get into Jess's pants. I think that was kind of, you could see it, but it was never really addressed, right? Never really addressed. And you kind of think, I mean, we could touch upon that. I think there's other things that we could have touched upon, like the reason for the war, right? What is separating these two groups? Because we were seeing the Upsurgents do some gnarly shit, right? Just killing people. Where did that person have to die? Right? Especially the civilians, who didn't have guns. Right? Like at the end, the woman. And you're just like, yo, they didn't have to die. So it's just like, what are we fighting for here? Because with the, the big civil war, right? You knew slavery was a big part of that. Now, it wasn't there were a whole load of like when you're younger, you believe, it was some believed in slavery, some didn't. As you get older, you understand, there was more shit going down, right? There was money and there was other shit. It wasn't necessarily people just wanting to do the right thing, but you knew that there were these reasons. With this one, I don't really think it was clear what those reasons were. And I'm not saying we needed to know everything, but I think it just makes you see these two different parties. You know what I mean? Like, why are they fighting? right? Why follow this group and not the other group, right? You know what I mean? That I think that's the big thing with that we could have seen. I think also, like, we start off with Jesse being mad naive, and then in the space of days, maybe a few weeks, right? Because we don't necessarily get a time frame on the journey, but it's not months, you know what I mean? But in the space of that, she becomes really good, you know? Where you're like, I don't know. And then the end, right? The end. It's kind of questionable, right? Now, I'm not saying we don't have to end, you know, like the ball doesn't have to end with the way the ball ends, right? You can have all of that, but it's just the way we go about it and the consequences of it. When you factor in, certain things wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for certain people's actions, you know? And I'm feeling words should have been said, but that might just be me, right? That might just be me. But I did think we got some great shots, especially when we're seeing the action and then we kind of see the action through the journalist's camera, right? We see it through the camera, right? And then sometimes we see the still shot of their shot, right? I think all of that was done so well. That was great. That was great. You know, and I thought the dialogue was pretty good. You know, I thought the script was good. Sammy, right? The rationale for Sammy being there, you know, I think it all made sense, right? You kind of get it. I thought they built the characters up pretty well. You know, as I said, there's some things that, you know, could have been, but for the most part, characters were pretty decent. I mean, we do see someone kind of crumble, but I think it would have been good to give more of a rationale behind that, you know? Also, there's a thing with the bullet, right? Like, how? Because from the angle the bullets are fired, I don't quite know how someone gets shot the way they get shot, you know? But I thought this was pretty decent. I think the ending was a little shaky, but everything leading up to that point, you know, just showing human nature, right? What humans would do, right? Just all of that kind of thing. I think that was well. And it makes sense Garland wrote that, because I thought that was definitely a big thing with 28 weeks later. Was it the first one? Or was it 28 days later? I forget. Man, yeah, I can't quite remember. But I thought the way he handled that, I thought that was really good. So it makes sense that, you know, he does this one because, yeah, he did such a good job with that, with showing what people would fall back on when law and everything is out of the window. You know, so yeah, not a bad film. You know, not a bad film. If you like Garland's stuff, I think you would want to check this one out. You know what I mean? So yeah, Civil War. I watched it on Prime. It's available on all VODs. So yeah, you know, if you like Garland, you might want to give it a look.